All right, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about navigating a little bit. A couple things. Over here on the right side, you have your different Vantage objects. So you have your controllers. Let's go up to scroll up to your controllers. You have your different controllers. Your IC Den2 light's the one that we're using here. You have your station buses, or your stations. You can use the station bus devices are all under WireLink. You might notice power station, that thing that you're going to be using, the booster, power booster. That's a actual object that you can use. You can say hello to Heather. She's lovely. And then there is the Ethernet bus, is the other devices that you'll probably use in the future. And that's the commercial, like we talked earlier, that's where we got the commercial device from. Over here on the left, we have our different view panes. So the area view is where we're going to see all our loads and all our devices. So in area view, we have the room. Okay, it's called project. Let's rename it to conference room or something. You'll notice that it actually changes the icon when you do that. It's kind of cool. It's smart. It's got smart technology that says, okay, this is a room that has a projector maybe. Let's put a projector on there. Okay, over here, one of the cool things is, hey, this is a can. Watch what it does. It changes it to a can icon. That's pretty cool, right? I don't know that that's a can, so I'm just going to rename it back to load one. But over here, you can create rooms, which is pretty nifty. You can go to your room wizard and go through the process of saying, okay, this is actually a conference room. Let's see if we have a conference room. There's not. So you have to create a room. Name it, whatever, and then hit OK. If you add it to the template, it's going to add it to that left side. Okay, then you hit next, and then you can, I would say, at this point, just keep hitting next until you're done. Okay, no keypads, nothing was installed. So over here on the left, you have a blank room. You notice that it's underneath conference. Like conference is the overall area. Say if you had multiple, this is a single project. You had multiple rooms. You would create your several different rooms here, and then add all of your loads to the various rooms. So I'd click load 1 through 5, and I drag those into this room. I'd also drag my commercial Equinox. You notice that it tells you, oh, okay, this is not part of that room over there. So you click on that room, and all of these things are in there. But we don't actually need this, because there's only one room. And let's undo that, because apparently that was a mistake. Don't delete a room with all of the devices still in it. Put it back in the project. Alright, and then you can delete the room. That was not a good idea. Okay. In the enclosure view, you're going to get your devices. So you got your what you would call it, the IC Den2 light. You got the power supply in there. It doesn't have the the switch. Not sure that you would add that. The power supply isn't a controlled device, so you probably could add a switch. I don't think it matters. But this is so. I'm actually going to show you in the next video how to add some devices. We actually have to add it for the LMDI, the link to this controller. But I'll show you in the next video how to do that. Over here on the bottom, you got bus view. So you'll see that there's a Ethernet bus and that the commercial Equinox is under the Ethernet bus. There's also going to be an RS-232. Maybe it'll show it over here, and then it'll have the LMDI underneath that. I'm not sure that it does that. Under Equinox view, you have your Equinox stuff. You see that it says conference now because we changed the room name. And that's where everything lives. This is where you have your profile. You can create new profiles right now. It's actually suggested that you'd have a separate profile and not admin profile as the default profile. But for this, I don't know. This is one small room. I don't think it really matters. And it's not like they're going to be doing a heck of a lot with it. So you could create more profiles if you needed to, but at this point, you may not need to. And I mean, you can kind of tool around in here and see what you got. Programming view, that's where the scenes live. And the style profile and style. You got power profiles. Like if you had some LVOSs that 0 to 10 volt dimming, or you had some full line voltage dimming modules, you would want to maybe change the power profiles so that this is where you set your minimum and your maximum limits. So 10, we all know LEDs don't go up to 10%, 100%. They go up to about 80%. So your max on would be like 8 volts, not 10 volts. Or your power profile here, your max on is not 97%, it's 80%. Those are the kinds of things that you'll play around with. There's actually a Vantage document out there that tells you maximum values of specific fixtures, which is kind of cool. Anyway, those are the menus on the left, and over here on the right, you have your Vantage objects. Obviously, that's the objects that are native to Vantage, and then you have your drivers, which are not native to Vantage, which is kind of nifty. That's where you get the LMDI, and then if you have some QMotion shades, you go in here and get your QMotion shade controllers. Under library, it's actually really cool. If you had online, actually that's in drivers. If there's a device out there that you can't find the driver in here, you could click on this little show online drivers, and it'll search the web for specific devices that you have that may or may not be in here. And that's mostly for like serial command type scenarios. And then library. One of the cool things is Forrest, who is over this project, sends out sometimes some library features that they've already set up. Some, like for example, I have an LVOS in an email that I could throw in my library that's set up exactly like an LVOS should be with 0 to 10 volt dimming. So if you don't do it with the library object, you may accidentally pull in more than you need and have extra loads out there. So that kind of trims it up and makes it a little nicer and neater. Nicer and neater. I don't even know if that's a word, neater. Anyway, that's kind of navigating. Up here, there's some more information, but we're going to talk about that whenever we go over connecting to these devices.